Okay, good morning, ladies and gentlemen. This is Professor David J. De Los Reyes. What I will be discussing this morning will be the concept on how to connect an inverter to the battery. The topic I would like to discuss here is the connector between the inverter and the battery. The number one requirement is that the cable or the wire that connects the battery to the inverter should be as short as possible. And the wire size needed for the voltage not to drop so much from the battery to the inverter is like this one here. This is size number 30. Okay? Because assuming the power output of the inverter is 1,200 watts, okay? For the battery to deliver that 1,200 watts, if the voltage at the terminal of the battery is, assuming it's 13.8, when it reaches the inverter, there should be some voltage drop. So that 13.8 might go to the value maybe 12.5. So actually we are wasting voltage. So for a power output of the inverter to be 1,200 watts, the battery should bring out a current of more or less 100 amperes. And that 100 amperes is actually a very hot current from the battery to inverter. So if the wiring that you are using there is actually very small, the wiring, it's not a cable, it's just a wiring, you may be having a big voltage drop. So assuming the voltage drop coming from the voltage regulator is 13.8, and there will be a drop of around 1 volt or 0.5 volt or 0.8 volt, that's something else. Okay, so the requirement is that the distance between the battery and the inverter should be minimal. They should be very near each other. And the wiring that we will be using should be a big one, as big as this one. Okay, this is actually number 30. Number 30. So if you try to connect an inverter to the battery by using a wire size just like this is just an example, okay? You cannot deliver that current, okay, efficiently to the inverter, because there should be too much voltage drop on the wiring, because the resistance of small wires is actually very high. And for the resistance to be very small, okay, we will be using a cable. Like on my inverter operation down at the first floor, the connection of my battery and the inverter is this size here, number 30. Okay, I make it a point that the voltage drop coming from the voltage regulator to the inverter will reach its value without lessening its value due to the high resistance of the wiring needed. So for the voltage drop to be minimal, we will be using what they call this, a cable, okay, as big as this one. At least it's number 30 or number 40. Okay, this hole here goes to the hole of the battery, and the other side goes to the side of the inverter. Okay, so if we are using this one, rest assured that the voltage coming from the solar panel going to the voltage regulator, okay, will reach the inverter with minimal losses, okay? And meaning minimal losses, if there is a 13.8, a voltage drop of 0.1 or 0.2 will be good enough. But if the voltage drop will reach 1 volt or 1.5 volt, that's too much already. Okay? So for the inverter to work properly, okay, the connection between the inverter and battery should be around number 30 and number 40. I've been using my solar equipment for more than 10 years, so I know what I am saying. Okay? I did it myself. Okay? So this is not just only from the books. Okay? What I am telling you is my personal experience already, because I installed my own solar panels and my solar equipment. Okay? And the cable I'm using between the battery and the inverter is around number 30 and number 40, something like this. Okay? That's it. So for those of you who are just new on the installation of solar equipment, this is a good advice if you will take my advice. Okay, good morning from Los Angeles. This is Professor David J. De Los Reyes.